for one shining moment at least, we were speaking the mother tongue. And what was it? It took us months to translate the demo. And the way we translated it was that Wisdom University was now ready to take a quantum leap. And the quantum leap was not to a mountaintop, but into an abyss. And to leap into the abyss so that we could recover what had been lost of our souls. But not only did we get a message from the owls, we had a message that we wanted to send to them, because in the mother tongue there is an exchange, a reciprocity. And what we said to them is, we want to apologize. We want to apologize and ask your forgiveness for what we humans have done to your tribe, the spotted owls. We have pushed you to the edge. Judith and I have actually a distant relative who owns a large lumber company in Oregon, who has been crucial in pushing the spotted owl to the edge of extinction. We said, accept us back. We'd like to make the eternal return to the cycle of life. One other brief story and a quotation, and then we'll celebrate with our diplomas. A 3 weeks ago, we had the first intensive of Earth Wisdom of the Primordial Mind. One of the new portals. It's not the only portal, it's just one of many portals that we have with Wisdom University. And as a part of this, we had the experiment of being, working at being as fluent as we could be in the language of the landscape. So it was in Texas, it was hot, mid-90s. Nevertheless, we opened all the doors of the conference center, opened the windows, and insects, all different kinds of creatures coming in, wind blowing through. We were suffering. Every once in a while we broke down and turned on the air conditioner. But we were experimenting. It was Friday, and we'd invited Jim to give a statement about the direction of Wisdom University. And he'd been talking about Earth Wisdom with the Primordial Mind and the Global Learning Center, and a metaphor we've been using for about 6 or 8 months now, that the university is moving out of the caterpillar stage into the chrysalis stage, aiming at the butterfly. And he said, maybe a little bit we're fluttering our wings. And just about the time he said that, or something like that, in the side door flew a jet black butterfly with bright blue dots on its wings. Came in and flew around his head and circled a couple of 3 times. Everybody, once again, as with the owls, gasped. But Jim didn't see the butterfly because it was behind his head. So the butterfly flew out, and all of us had our eyes wide open. And Jim went on with his talk, as he's sometimes prone to do. And the butterfly flew around the back, like this door here, flew in the back door, made a diagonal journey across the circle, flew right up to Jim's face, stood there for just, not stood, flew there for just a moment, and then out the side door. And as I recall, Jim really was touched, as were all of us, and he touched his heart with his hand, and he bowed his head slightly and felt tears come as the dogs. And why would that be so touching? For one brief, brilliant moment, we were speaking another tongue. We were touched. We were limbic. We were open. And as with most translations of a mother tongue, it will take us months to be able to translate that into our world. In 1969, and this is a closing quote, in 1969, A Russian immigrant by way of Belgium came to the University of Texas in Austin. His name was Ilya Prigozhin. And because he was local, I followed him pretty closely, writing in the Austin American Statesman. And then in 1977, he received the Nobel Prize for Chemistry, in which he also said, the understanding of the universe from a chemical point of view is not sufficient, so he wanted to relate the systems to quantum fields through a whole realm of research in dissipated structures. And as I thought, Teresa reminded me of this quotation. I went back to my notes, and as I read this quotation, these two quotations, I said to myself, what have we learned here at Wisdom University, and what can we take with us? Not just from this mother tongue, but from all of the languages of our wisdom that we're taking with us. What is it that we can do? How can we make a difference? And with that in mind, I read this statement. Just after he received the Nobel Prize. A system in balance and functioning well is difficult to change. But as the system falls into disorder, we've got plenty of that, change becomes more and more feasible and, listen, finally inevitable. At the inevitable point, and I believe we're nearing the inevitable point, the least bit of coherent order can bring into order the whole disorderly array. But what kind of order would we see? Which direction the change takes depends on the nature of the attractor in the midst of chaos that lifts the chaos to a new order. If the attractor in the midst of the chaos is demonic, the old cycle simply repeats itself, which seems to have been the case historically with our species. But if the attractor in the midst of chaos were benevolent, and he used this word, or divine, the new order would have to be of that nature. Well, Prigozhin is not speaking the mother tongue quite at that moment. He's close, but he's not quite there. But he finishes with a statement that I believe is a very clear statement of the mother tongue. The planetary system we are in now is far from equilibrium, but small islands of coherence and a sea of social chaos can shift the whole system to a higher order. One more time. The planetary system we are in now is far from equilibrium, but small islands of coherence and a sea of chaos can shift the whole system to a higher order. I saw an island a few minutes ago, just outside the Washington Inn, in a potted plant. A small wren had built her nest, and 4 babies were being fed. And a father with a really red head came, and the 2 of them together were feeding their offspring. An island of coherence and a sea of chaos. I say,